Well, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Solihull. I'm back here again for my second park run. Only my second park run. Why have I come to Solihull? Round the corner from my house. I want to see if I can beat my better time. See if I can get to the front of the pack. But what a week it's been. And a huge thank you to everybody for your support with the Warwick video. Last time I came here, don't forget, it was the running show, right? So it was packed. And I didn't get quite the soft start that I wanted. But this is also the home of Margaret, the 90-year-old runner who was her birthday last time we came. Good morning. Yeah, good. I'm sure some of you park runners will have seen in the news all week, even made the 9 o'clock news or 10 o'clock news, whichever one you watch, that Parkrun have scrapped their gender data and their time data or something. Don't really understand it, to be honest with you. Someone at work asked me how I felt about it. Not really that fussed, but I do feel some sympathy for park runners who have done this for a long time. I think the rationale behind it seems to be they don't want to put people off from joining what is essentially a community run. But you know, I mean, anybody who turns up this morning as a first timer, are you going to collect my data? Please tell me you're not going to collect my data. Not going to happen. You don't have to baby people through. People are stronger than you think. They don't want to see their own data. They don't have to look at it. I'd be interested to see what Margaret thinks about it, to be honest with you. And she's in her 90s. She's got about 18 years worth of first in age category data at stake here. Actually, well, I've just overheard in the car park, rumour has it that she's absolutely kicked off. She set fire to her Parkrun commemorative t-shirt live on TikTok. Actually, that's fairly misleading, not quite what it seems. Like many old people in her generation, she warms her clothes up in the oven. I think it was a complete accident, to be honest with you, and those tops are almost 100% flammable. Either way, she must be fuming. But to be honest, it then sort of called into question. I was thinking about this the other day, right? And I was thinking, what would I do if all of a sudden Strava deleted all of my running data over the last 10 years? You'd just have to live with it, wouldn't you? No point crying about it. It's all up there. The memories are all up there, aren't they? And actually, really, who really cares about your own data other than you? Every Monday morning, my boss says to me, did you run at the weekend? I say yes. He'll say, what did you do? I'll say, I'll do a half marathon. And he'll say, what time did you get? And I'll say something like, I don't know. I'll just tell him my time. And he'll go, is that personal best? And I'll go, no. Or yes, depending on whether it was or not. Next week, I'm going to go and say, so my personal best is 1 hour 23 minutes for a half marathon. Managed to get that in there. Next week, I'm going to say to him 2 hours and see what his response is. And I guarantee his response will be, is that your personal best? You know it's not my personal best. You've been listening for the last 20 weeks. But I don't blame him for it, because what he's doing is something called phatic conversation. It's just transactional, empty, social conversation. He's not interested in the response. He doesn't care. Why would he care about what time I get? So just look after your own data, I think, is the message that I'm sending. Treat it like, I have these conversations in my own mind quite a lot. Right? If someone set fire to your house, could happen. And someone said, right, you've got only enough time to get 10 things out of your house. What would you get? Well, you wouldn't cry about the 100 things that you'd left behind. You'd go for your 10 things. I've spent a bit of time thinking about this as well. Dogs, kids, wife. Don't pay any attention to the order. That was just purely accidental. That leaves me with 4 things. Phone, laptop, charger, air fryer. That's what I'd go for. Right, it looks rainy, it looks slightly nippy, looks a bit cold, but I've got to get near the front this time, I think. Even though, look, I don't want to collect data. Goodness me, no. I wouldn't want to collect my data. I'm going to collect my data. There we go, far less crowd. This looks a little bit more my speed, I think, than the last time. It was like a Taylor Swift concert. Oh, look, there we go. Right, I've got to be aggressive and get to the front. I've got to be assertive. Lots here. And apparently they're saying that they're doing ditching tight corners because of crowds. Bloody crowds again. Right. Let's get the watch ready. Wait for the horn. Can't complain today. I am near the front, rocketing along. Now, no carbon race shoes today. I've gone comfort. See if they make any difference whatsoever. Comfort and grip I've gone for today.
Keep left when you turn around.
A change of course has thrown a couple of people. Now I thought we weren't going around the lake again, but we are. So unless I've done the usual, I managed to get lost in a bloody parkrun, I think we're okay. Should we not have gone round the lake? No. Oh shit. Did get lost. Shouldn't have gone round the lake. Well, that now renders it null and void. Went round the bloody lake. Did get lost. Fuming. Well done, mate. Alright, coming up to the finish. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Did you run round the lake first?
Yeah.
Yeah. Measured long. How many did it? Measured really long. 3.3, yeah. Hello, Mark.
Hey. Cheers, mate. You alright?
Yeah.
Here he is.
You okay?
You okay? Did you get on?
Yeah, 21.16.
Did you go around the lake?
No, I didn't go around the lake.
Yeah. I definitely didn't go. I did go down the lake.
Yeah, well done.
Cheers, mate. Nice to meet you. See you later.
Cheers.
Right. So that was good. Enjoyed it. But to be honest, so they changed the course. That was my first blow. And then he said, don't run around the lake. So I followed a load of blokes who ran around the lake. You know, as my mum always says to me, it's because you don't listen, love. That's your problem. You don't listen. Which I've got to say, to be fair to the old buzzard, that is correct. I have come a ridiculously long way around because park itself is a bit muddy, a bit slippy, and yeah, I need to get home because my kids had a sleepover last night, which was your basic nightmare. At midnight last night, I can still hear them eating mini eggs, crunching, sugared off their nut. They were watching Mean Girls. They watched it twice. They're 11 and running around the bedroom calling each other bitches and doing a burn book. But I don't know if you saw back there how nonchalant and cocky I was with the barcodes. Compared to the first time, I was so fluid. I just strolled up to this one kid. Have you got your barcode on your phone? Yeah, of course I have. Have you got your ticket? Yes. Didn't hear the beep, which worries me, but you know, no one's collecting the data anyway, are they? Well, don't collect my data. No one's collecting it. But yeah, but I'd had somebody, like putting it, now they're probably nice, and I don't want to repeat the Jeff situation, but I'd had somebody who, at the end of my video entitled My First Parkrun, basically took me to task. And essentially what they were saying is, they didn't believe it was my first parkrun. I'm saying, no, I'm not lying. I've just never done a parkrun. Some questions. You say you've been running for 10 years, and yet this is your first parkrun? Well, I mean, it is. You know, I mean, believe it or not, doesn't really matter. But yeah, it is. You know, I've always set myself as a long distance runner, so I never quite fancied 5k, and you know, the crowds and stuff has put me off, and if I'm being honest, the popularity had put me off. A little bit like being a Phil Collins fan in the late 80s, everyone's doing it, so why would you? But anyway, yeah, so yeah, it's my first parkrun. And he said, and you didn't know the logistics of it? I've struggled to believe that when there's so many YouTube videos. Well, yeah, but if I've never considered running a parkrun, is it such a stretch that I haven't been watching parkrun logistics on a loop on YouTube for the last 10 years? I'm thinking it's not that much of a stretch. To put it in a similar light, I holiday now and again in Cornwall, right? But about 3 or 4 years ago, on one of my first visits with the family in the caravan, I attempted to cross the Tamar Bridge in Saltash. Now, if anyone's ever been down there, logistically it can be quite stressful. If you've never been there before, why would you know that they don't accept cards? Why would you know that you have to have the exact change and throw it into a large bucket out your window as if it's litter? Why would you know all those things? Because he's never done it before. But the guy in the kiosk was bloody fuming with me. Where do you want the money, mate? You got any change? No, I ain't got change, and you throw it in that bloody bucket. We've got a queue here. Fuming. No, I don't take bloody cards. What do you think it is, a space age? And as I drove off, leaving a large queue behind me, he'd left his microphone turned on in the kiosk. I could hear him slagging me off. See that bloody clown there, Amos? Where'd you put your change, he said. In the bloody bucket. I've uploaded 17 videos on YouTube showing how to do that. You ain't watched a bloody one of them. Joker. I hope he gets bloody fleeced. I did. Well, look. Rant over. I'm legging it back to the car. I have no idea whether I'll get an email at lunchtime or not. I have no idea what my data's going to be showing. What I do know is that today I ran faster than the first time, and yet my performance was probably not as good statistically, which brings me in a nice loop back to the start. Do you need stats when you've got your body to tell you everything that you need to know? Look, Marmot, I'm going to leave you to enjoy your weekend. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.